Hello everyone, this is your channel Physics with Shomita and I am Shomita Gupta Roy, and today we are going to study about displacement current, electromagnetic waves and displacement current. Mainly we will be studying about displacement current. Okay, so let us begin. Now if you are having a charged particle and if the charged particle is at rest, it produces an electric field. Okay, that electric field exerts force on other charged particles. Now positive charges, we know it moves in the direction of the field, and negative charges move opposite to the direction of the field. Okay, what is the force on a charged particle? F equal to QE. Okay, where E is the intensity of the electric field, that is the electric field. Q is the charge on the charged particle, and F is the force acting by the electric field on the charged particle. Okay, now a moving charged particle produces a magnetic field. The magnetic field can exert force on other moving charged particles. What is the magnitude of the force? F equal to QVB, or if I write in terms of direction, F equal to QV cross B, which means the force exerted by the magnetic field on the charged particle is perpendicular to the velocity of the charged particle. Okay, so F, V, B are perpendicular to each other. That's fine. So what I'm trying to tell you is that a charged particle produces an electric field. A moving charged particle produces a magnetic field. But if the charged particle is accelerating or oscillating charged particle, it produces an electromagnetic wave. Now what is an electromagnetic wave? It consists of electric field and magnetic field oscillating perpendicular to each other, and both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. So it consists of basically electric field vector and magnetic field vector. Both are perpendicular to each other, oscillating perpendicular to each other. Can you see the red lines are the electric field wave and the purple lines are the magnetic field wave? Okay, so both are mutually perpendicular to each other in the Z and the Y axis, and in the X axis is the wave propagating. The wave is propagating along the X axis. Okay, so this is the Z axis, this is the Y axis, and this is the X axis, X, Y, Z, like this. Okay, so the electric field is oscillating in the Z axis, the magnetic field is oscillating in the Y axis, and the wave is propagating along the X axis. So it is actually a charged particle oscillating about an equilibrium position is an accelerating charged particle. So you can see here there is a charged particle which is oscillating like this, up and down. It is oscillating and it is giving rise to the electromagnetic waves, which consist of electric field and magnetic field oscillating perpendicular to each other, and both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. Okay, you can see the electric field like this, the magnetic field by the purple line, and both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave, which is moving like this. Okay, in the X direction. Now, the creation of all electromagnetic waves begin with an oscillating charged particle, which creates oscillating electric and magnetic fields. So electromagnetic waves are created by accelerating charged particle. Accelerating charged particle means the particles which oscillate about its equilibrium position. Now this electric field and magnetic field, as I have told you, are perpendicular, oscillate in perpendicular planes to each other and are in phase. What do you mean by in phase? That they begin at the same point, they reach their crest at the same time, they reach their trough at the same time. Okay, when the magnetic field reaches its trough, the electric field vector also reaches its trough. Okay, so when the magnetic field vector reaches its crest, the electric field vector also reaches its crest. So they oscillate in phase, though you can see the magnitude of the electric field vector is much greater than the magnitude of the magnetic field vector. Okay, so they are, and once in motion, the electric field and magnetic field that are oscillating charged particle create are self-perpetuating, which means the change in one gives rise to other. Okay, once the electric field and magnetic field, they start oscillating. Okay, an oscillating charged particle creates, once an oscillating charged particle creates this electric field and magnetic field, this oscillating electric field and magnetic field, then this oscillating electric field and magnetic field are self-perpetuating. That is, change in one will produce the other field. Time varying one field or time dependent electric field will give rise to magnetic field, and time dependent magnetic field will give rise to electric field. We will come to this in details. Okay, now it was James Clerk Maxwell. He was a British physicist, and in 1865 he gave the second great unification theory of physics, which says that electricity and magnetism are interconnected and they are different manifestations of the same electromagnetic force, and reveals that light is merely an electromagnetic wave. Light travels with the same speed as an electromagnetic wave, as that of an electromagnetic wave. Okay, so he brought together Gauss's law of electrostatics, then Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, Ampere's circuital law. He brought everything together and showed that electrostatics and electricity, magnetism, all are interconnected. Okay, so let us begin with Ampere's circuital law. Ampere's circuital law, the line integral of a magnetic field B around a closed loop is mu naught times the net current I threading through the area enclosed by the loop. What does it mean? That if you are having a current carrying wire, the current you can see is perpendicular to the plane of the page and inwards. Okay, the current is perpendicular to the plane of the page and inside. Then what will be the direction? And if you are having a loop encircling the current carrying wire, the current carrying wire is like this. It is perpendicular to the plane of the page and the current is moving inside the plane of the page. Now if you are having a loop encircling the current carrying wire, then the magnetic field at every point of the loop is along the circumference of the loop, that is tangential to the loop. How can you find it? You can find it by right hand thumb rule. Like you place the thumb in the direction of the current, then the fingers encircle in the direction of the magnetic field. See, I have placed the thumb in the direction of the current is perpendicular to the page and inward. So the fingers is encircling in the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, now Ampere's circuital law is valid for steady currents only. What does this Ampere's circuital law means? That whenever there is a current, okay, there is a magnetic field. Whenever there is a current, there is a magnetic field. It is shown by Ampere's circuital law. Current carrying wire gives rise to a magnetic field, and the direction of the magnetic field can be found out by right hand thumb rule. Okay, magnitude of the magnetic field is given by this, and the direction of magnetic field is given by right hand thumb rule. So it says that whenever you are having a current carrying wire and if a loop is encircling the wire, then the magnetic field at every point is along the circumference of the loop, is tangential to the loop along the circumference. Okay, so a current carrying wire, it gives rise to a magnetic field that was said by Hans Ørsted, and the magnitude of the magnetic field is given by Ampere's circuital law. Okay, like this. Now, while applying Ampere's circuital law to time varying currents, it is just for a steady current. The current carrying wire is carrying current and it is a steady current. Now, when you are applying Ampere's circuital law to time varying current, Maxwell found inconsistency in the law. Okay, the law is not consistent. There are some gaps in the law. So he has corrected it, but we will come to that a bit later. First we will do Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Okay, what is it? That whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with a closed circuit, an EMF is induced in the circuit whose magnitude is negative rate of change of magnetic flux. So whenever there is a change in magnetic flux or whenever there is a change in magnetic lines of force in a closed circuit, okay, an EMF is induced and a current flows in the circuit. And the magnitude of the induced EMF is negative rate of change of magnetic flux. When the magnetic flux phi b is changing, how can you change the magnetic flux? By changing the magnetic lines of force, by increasing the magnetic lines of force, or by decreasing the magnetic lines of force, you can change the magnetic flux. So whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, an EMF is induced and a current flows in the circuit. So if I ask you that can you produce a current in the circuit without the help of a battery? Yes, we can produce current in the circuit without the help of a battery simply by placing a closed circuit, a closed loop in an increasing magnetic field or in a decreasing magnetic field. So if the magnetic field lines of force are increasing, or changing with time, there is a change in magnetic flux. Okay, that is, what is flux? Flux is BA. Okay, so whenever there is a change in B, there is a change in flux, and whenever there is a change in flux, an EMF is induced and the circuit is closed, then a current flows. Okay, and what is the magnitude of the induced EMF? That was given by Faraday, like d phi b dt. It is negative rate of change of magnetic flux. Okay, so what will be the direction of the induced current? Suppose we are taking the closed loop and you have placed it in an increasing magnetic field. The magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane of the page and inward, and it is increasing inward. So what will be the direction of the current? The direction of the current by Lenz's law will be such that it opposes the cause that produces it. So it opposes the increasing magnetic field inward. The direction of the current should be such that it opposes the increasing magnetic field inward. That is, the direction of current should be such that it makes the magnetic field increasing outward. So if the magnetic field has to increase outward, then you use your right hand thumb rule. The magnetic field if it has to come outward, thumb will point here. Right hand you can use in both cases. Okay, both ways. The thumb is pointing in the direction of the magnetic field, and the fingers curl in the direction of the current. Okay, so the magnetic field has to increase outward by Lenz's law. Okay, it has to oppose the cause that produces it. So current will be anti-clockwise, like this. This will be the direction of the current. Now coming back, induced EMF is negative rate of change of magnetic flux. Okay, and if there is a current is flowing, then there has to be a potential difference between the two ends of the wire. So we can say the induced EMF, its unit is also volt, and potential difference, its unit is also volt. So we can say the potential difference between the ends of the wire is minus d phi b dt. And V we know, dV we know is E dot dl. We know, right? We know dV is E dot dl. So V will be closed line integration of E dot dl, and that is minus d phi b dt. Okay, so what does this equation mean? What does this equation mean? That means that whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, it gives rise to an electric field. A changing magnetic field gives rise to electric field. Can you see, whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, a change in magnetic flux was giving rise to induced EMF. Now a change in magnetic flux is giving rise to electric field. Of course, there has to be an electric field. Otherwise, who would have caused the motion of the charges in the conductor? there has to be a force on the charge F equal to QE, right? The charges in the conductor has to move. Who is moving the charges in the conductor? The electric field, E. So change in magnetic field is giving rise to electric field. Changing magnetic field gives rise to electric field. This was said by Faraday. The equation was found out by Maxwell. The equation was deduced from here to here. It was deduced by Maxwell, but the changing magnetic field gives rise to electric field. It was said by Faraday. Okay. Now, if this is so, that a changing magnetic field is giving rise to an electric field, you understand, right? Phi B means BA. If A is constant, then minus A dB dt. If A is constant here, if the area of the loop is not changing with time, it is not increasing or decreasing with time, then minus A dB dt. So change in magnetic field gives rise to electric field. Okay. Now, is the reverse true? Can changing electric field gives rise to magnetic field? Maxwell said yes. Okay. Because nature loves symmetry. A change in magnetic field is giving rise to an electric field. So changing electric field can also give rise to magnetic field. But he has to prove it. So what he has done, he has demonstrated an experiment. Okay, he has done an experiment. What is the experiment? There is a capacitor. And there is a battery and a key. Okay, now the capacitor is getting charged. As the capacitor is getting charged, the current is decreasing with time. So it is no longer a steady current, it is a time varying current. The current is decreasing with time as the capacitor is getting charged to the voltage of the battery. Okay, when the capacitor is fully charged to the voltage of the battery, then there is no potential difference between here and here, or this plate and this plate, which means the current will stop flowing. So it is something like this. The current is something like this. The current decreases with time exponentially. I'm not going into the equation and all, but when a capacitor is charged, the current ceases. Okay, when the capacitor is fully charged to the potential difference of voltage of the battery. And the charge on the capacitor grows like this. Charge on the capacitor grows exponentially. Okay, this is the charge on the capacitor plates grows exponentially. Okay, so as the capacitor is getting charged, the current decreases. So it is a time varying current. Okay, now how is the capacitor charged? This positive plate of the battery will attract, say, what is a capacitor? It are two metallic plates, okay, and inside there is vacuum or free space. Okay, there is vacuum or free space. Okay, inside the plates of the capacitor. Inside the plates, okay, there is vacuum or free space. So there is an insulator inside. Vacuum means an insulating medium. So here you see that what I was saying, that how is the capacitor charged? The capacitor is charged, the electrons are from the copper plate or whatever metal plate it is getting attracted by the positive terminal of the battery. If the electrons are getting attracted by the positive terminal of the battery, there will be current is flowing opposite to the direction of the electrons. Again, the electrons are repelled from the negative terminal of the battery and getting accumulated here. So this is negative. So electrons are getting repelled by the negative terminal of the battery. So electron is flowing in this direction. Or you may say a positive charge is attracted by the negative terminal of the battery. So if a positive charge is coming out from the negative terminal of the battery, this surface will become negative. A positive charge coming out, leaving a negative charge over here. Okay. So you can say that if dq amount of charge is flowing, if dq amount of charge is flowing in time dt, if dq amount of, say, positive charge, if dq amount of positive charge is coming out from here, okay, and moving to the negative terminal of the battery in time dt, then the instantaneous current or current at any instant is given by dq dt. Okay, this current is conduction current, IC. This is conduction current. This is conduction current, and it arises due to flow of electrons in the, listen very carefully, this is very important. Okay, this current in the connecting wire, okay, is the conduction current, and it arises due to flow of electrons in the connecting wire. Okay, so this current this is the current carrying wire. As I have told you, if you remember the Ampere-Circuital law, or you may go back in the video and see the Ampere-Circuital law, the direction of the magnetic field can be found out by right hand thumb rule, and it is tangential to the circumference of the loop. Okay, at every point of the loop it will be tangential. So here it will be coming out. The magnetic field will be coming out. If you use right hand thumb rule, see, this is the thumb is pointing the direction of the current, and the magnetic field is coming out at the point A, and below it is getting inside. Here it is getting inside. Okay, it is coming out from A and getting inside. Like, it is something like this, coming out from A and getting inside from below. Okay, coming out from top, getting inside from below. So there is a magnetic field over here. Same way there is a magnetic field over here. Okay, and the Ampere-Circuital law at point gives closed line integration of B dot dl is mu naught IC. Whenever there is a current, there is a magnetic field. Okay, that is at point A. Now at B, closed line integration of B dot dl, is there any connecting wire at the point B? There is no connecting wire. So according to Ampere-Circuital law, it will be mu naught into 0. There is no conduction current, which means magnetic field is 0 at the point B. magnetic field is 0 at the point B. It means, okay, again at the point C, it is same. Closed line integration of B dot dl equal to mu naught IC. Okay, so whatever current is entering the capacitor plate, the same current is coming out from the capacitor plates. Okay, but it is seen. So your conclusion was that there is current over here, there is magnetic field at the point A, there is magnetic field at the point C, and the magnitude of the magnetic field at the point A and C are the same, and the direction of the magnetic field at the point A and C are the same. But if a magnetic needle is placed at the point A, and a magnetic needle is placed at the point C, and a magnetic needle is placed at the point B, in the three cases, the magnetic needle shows same deflection and to the same extent, which means the magnetic field, there exists a magnetic field at the point B, and the magnetic field has the same magnitude and direction as that of point A and point C. There exists a magnetic field at the point B, and the magnetic field has the same magnitude. So I write down, there exists a magnetic field at point B and has the same magnitude and direction as those of points A and C. Okay, so there exists a magnetic field at the point B. So the question now arises, if there exists a magnetic field at the point B, what is causing the creation, what is creating this magnetic field? The question arises, what is creating the magnetic field at the point B? What is creating this magnetic field at B? And the second question arises, if there is a magnetic field, there should be a current according to Ampere, right? According to Ampere, Ampere's law, that if there is a magnetic field, there has to be a current. But thus in the second position, if you place a magnetic needle, the needle is showing deflection to the same extent and in the same direction as those of the points A and C, showing that there exists the same magnetic field as that of points A and C. Okay, so this Ampere's law is not valid here. For time varying current, Ampere's law is not valid. You can understand that there exists a magnetic field, but if there exists a magnetic field, what is creating that magnetic field? And according to Ampere's law, that if there is a magnetic field, there has to be a current, but this is a vacuum. There cannot be any current here. So what is actually the thing that is happening over here? Now see carefully. As the charge is growing on the capacitor plates, the electric field is building up. Okay, the electric lines of force, as the capacitor is getting charged, the electric lines of force is building up. So there is a change in the electric lines of force. The electric lines of force, or the electric field, is increasing with time. So there is a changing electric field, and this changing electric field is producing a magnetic field. So what Faraday said, that can changing electric field gives rise to magnetic field? Yes, there is a changing electric field, there is a changing electric flux. Okay, changing electric field, there is a changing electric flux, and it is giving rise to magnetic field. So the first question, the answer to the first question, what is creating this electric field at the point B? What is creating the magnetic field at the point B? So magnetic field, the answer to this is that changing electric field or increasing electric field, whatever increasing or decreasing doesn't matter, changing electric field is giving rise to magnetic field at B. Changing electric field, that is time varying electric field. Time varying electric field gives rise to magnetic field. Now the second question is that if there is a magnetic field, there should be a current. Where is that current? Of course, there is a current. That current is called displacement current. That current is called displacement current. It does not arise due to flow of electrons. The definition of current has been altered. The definition of current has been altered here. This displacement current does not arise due to the flow of electron, and is produced by changing electric field. Displacement current is produced by changing electric field. And is not produced by flow of electrons. This does not require a medium. To flow. It does not require a medium to flow. Displacement current is produced by changing electric field. Okay, so the whole definition of current has been altered. The current so long has only stick to this idea that flow of electrons produce current in a wire, okay, in a conductor. But here it is said that it is produced by changing electric field can also produce current, because changing electric field is producing a magnetic field, and since there is a magnetic field, Maxwell, for the satisfaction of because nobody was listening to Maxwell that time, because the whole concept of current was getting altered, so he said that okay, there is a current, the current is called displacement current and is produced by changing electric field, not produced by the flow of electrons, and it does not require a medium to flow. Okay, so there is a current over here. That current is displacement current, and the conduction current over here is equal to 0. And here the conduction current I is equal to IC, and displacement current is equal to 0 here at this point, and at this point as well. I is equal to IC and the displacement current is equal to 0. Now, this displacement current has the same magnitude as that of the conduction current, and this displacement current, the displacement current is of the same value as that of the conduction current, and it is producing the same magnetic field as the conduction current is producing at points A and C. The displacement current at the point B is producing the same magnetic field as the conduction current at points A and C. So the value of the displacement current should be equal to the value of conduction current. Then only the continuity of the current will satisfy. Okay, the current will be continuous. To satisfy the condition of continuity of the current, the displacement current should have the same value as the conduction current to satisfy the condition of continuity of the current. Okay, so let us see how the displacement current is equal to the conduction current. Let us again draw the diagram. That this is the capacitor, this is the battery. The capacitor is getting charged like this. These are the charges. I'm in the outside place actually. I have not drawn it. This is the electric field E between the plates of the capacitor. This is the direction of the flow of current. The current is varying current. Okay. Here there is ID and here there is IC. Now IC current is equal to dq dt, rate of flow of charge. The instantaneous current is equal to If dq amount of current flows in a time dt, then the instantaneous current is given by dq dt. It's a time varying current. It is varying with time. Okay, and that is equal to IC, the conduction current in the wire. Okay, now what is phi E, the electric flux? The electric flux is equal to, this is the electric field. If I consider a circular or a surface over here, then the electric flux will be given by E dot A, if A is the area of the plates or the surface. Okay, take the area of the plates. The area of the plates is A. Okay, so if A is the area of the plates, and if you take a similar area over here in between, then the electric flux cutting through this area will be E dot A. Now E and A both are in the same direction. See, the electric field is in this direction. Okay, and the area vector, what is the direction of area vector? Outward drawn normal to the surface. You can understand the plates are like this, right? So the area vector is along the outward drawn normal. And the electric field is also in this direction. So E and A both are in the same direction. So it is EA. Phi is equal to EA. Okay. Now, here one more thing you can see that the magnetic field is coming outward here. Electric field is in this direction. Okay, so magnetic field and electric field both are mutually perpendicular to each other. Electric field is in this direction and magnetic field is coming outward of the plane of the paper, and it is going inside the plane of the paper from below. Okay, it is from here, it is coming outward. So phi E is EA. The electric field vector and the area vector both are in the same direction. Now again phi E, by Gauss's law, if you remember Gauss's law, what is it? Total normal electric flux through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. So 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Epsilon naught is the free space permittivity. Okay. So d phi E dt, if I do d phi E dt, free space permittivity of free space is a constant. So dq dt. Okay. So dq dt will be equal to epsilon naught d phi E dt. That is equal to ID, the displacement current. The displacement current arises due to what? Change in electric field or change in electric flux. Can you see? Phi E is changing, d phi E dt. Phi E is electric field into area. Either area changes or electric field changes. Phi E changes. Electric flux changes. So when electric flux changes means what? If phi E changes means what? E is changing. E is changing means what? Electric field is changing means what? It is giving rise to displacement current. So this is the formula of displacement current. Epsilon naught d phi E dt. Now can this formula of displacement current will be equal to IC dq dt? Let us see. ID is equal to epsilon naught d phi E dt. In the place of phi E, can I write epsilon naught ddt of EA? Phi E is equal to EA. Okay. Electric field into area. Okay. Area is constant, will come out dE dt. Okay. Now electric field. What is the magnitude of electric field between the two plates of a capacitor? For a single infinite plate, do you remember the formula for electric field due to a single infinite charged plate? That is E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Isn't it? Equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. That is due to a infinite charged plate. So for two plates it will be sigma by epsilon naught plus sigma by epsilon naught. That is sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. That is sigma by epsilon naught. Okay. So electric field due to a capacitor between a parallel plate capacitor. For a parallel plate capacitor, the electric field between the plates is given by E equal to sigma by epsilon naught. What is sigma? Surface charge density. So let us bring it over here. ID is equal to this. So ID is equal to epsilon naught A dE dt, epsilon naught A ddt of sigma by epsilon naught A by epsilon naught ddt of sigma. ddt of sigma, what is sigma? Surface charge density, Q by A, charge per unit area. So Q by A, that is epsilon naught A by epsilon naught A dQ dt, that is equal to dQ dt, that is equal to IC. Okay. So ID is equal to IC. So it is the same current which is flowing, the current that is flowing through the conducting wires. It is the same magnitude of current that is flowing in between the capacitor plates and is coming out of through the conducting wires. Okay. But in between the capacitor plates, it is the displacement current and is arise due to changing electric field. Displacement current is the current that arises due to changing electric field and is not produced due to flow of electrons, and it can move through vacuum. Okay. So Ampere's circuital law, Maxwell, though there is the correction in Ampere's circuital law, and it is Maxwell Ampere's law. And what does it say? What is it? That B dot dl is equal to mu naught IC plus ID. Mu naught IC, if I take I, and ID is epsilon naught d phi E dt. This is the Maxwell's Ampere's law. Okay. Now a conduction current. So what you have seen that a conduction current is giving rise to a magnetic field over here, but as well as a changing electric field can give rise to a magnetic field. So what does this say? That not only a conduction current can give rise to a magnetic field, but a changing electric field can also give rise to a magnetic field. Not only a conduction current, but changing electric field can also give rise to magnetic field. Okay. Not only conduction current but changing electric field. Now this Maxwell's correction and invention of displacement current, and Maxwell's correction of the Ampere's law shows that self-sustaining electromagnetic waves can travel through empty space. Okay, empty space, and even in absence of moving charges or current. So even if there are no moving charges or current, the self-sustaining electromagnetic waves can travel through empty space. Okay, and it says that magnetic field component and electric field component each continually changes, and they are self-perpetuating. Okay, they each perpetuate the other. That is the Maxwell's correction and invention of displacement current. The displacement current, it can travel through vacuum. Okay, and it gives rise to the idea of self-sustaining electromagnetic waves, that is the light waves. And light waves consist of electric field, oscillating electric field and magnetic field vectors, which are mutually perpendicular to each other, and both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave, and they are self-sustaining, and they each perpetuate the other, and they are continually changing. Okay, so that is all about the displacement current and Maxwell's the electromagnetic waves, the first portion of electromagnetic waves, that is the displacement current. Okay, so thank you all.